In what he knows to be a make-or-break season, Luke Fickell went deep in the portal, hoping to find a quick fix. 33 transfers currently on the roster, including 5 at the critical wide receiver, offensive line, and defensive line positions. Our training camp crew got a glance at the new-look Badgers over the weekend, and they have more from Madison.
Rick, thanks. An absolutely gorgeous day here in the Isthmus city of Madison as we start our portion of the preseason tour. Dave Revson, Howard Griffith, and Jake Butt. And guys, Rick was talking about all the transfers heading into this program, and that's a big storyline, no doubt. This is an overhaul of this team, and so it's a very different feel than what we saw a season ago. Just kind of big picture from what you saw, what stood out to you?
Well, I'll say this first. I'll go back to when Coach took over the program, and he thought that you'd be able to build this more like with high school guys. But just how quickly college athletics has changed. They've had to go into the portal. They've had to make adjustments to be able to bring guys in so that they can be competitive and compete at a high level. Listen, I like what they've done. I like the philosophy and trying to turn this team into a longer, quicker football team. And just by watching them and looking at them as they walk around, it looks like they've been able to do that.
Yeah, you never really know with transfers, right? Some of it's projection. They've done a good job of getting some guys that are experienced and proven at a D1 Power 4 level. But seeing them today and understanding the schedule, I'm a believer in Wisconsin this. Yeah, absolutely, especially because of what they have at the quarterback position with Colton Joseph. I mean, he's a true athlete. He's been what they're missing, and he's perfectly fit for Jeff Grimes' system. That's a huge deal.
Before, we've talked about just how important this quarterback position is. We're going back to last year. This is a place where they have to have quarterback play at a high level, and he gives them that opportunity.
And we know the history, right? Last 37 games, the person who at the beginning of the year was designated as the starting quarterback has been available for 11 of them. So it has been tough. Joseph is dynamic, and he ran for 1,000 yards at Old Dominion. He can throw the ball as well. But I think what stood out to all three of us in our conversations off camera is the depth of that room. And that if, and again, the hope is that he's available the whole season. But if he isn't, based on the recent history, things aren't going to necessarily get torpedoed.
Yeah, and the important part of that is when you look at the skill sets of that room, they're all similar. They don't have to go into a situation where now all of a sudden the backup may be a drop back guy or the third guy can only do this. They have guys that can run the entire offense, and that's huge when you talk about building confidence and understanding that the reps that the second team is getting, that's what we're going to be seeing when we have an opportunity to get in the game.
The depth is really important. One, for the injury history. Two, because we know one of the best things Joseph does is run the football. That's going to be a big piece of just base rushing. They're going to run Joseph maybe 5, 10+ times a game. Hey, that's risky. You know, you're going to run your quarterback. Maybe he does get dinged up. I think we all like the freshman Ryan Hopkins. I think he's going to be extremely special. He made a handful of throws today that I haven't seen a Wisconsin quarterback make in a number of years. So what a luxury. Complete 180 from last year in terms of quarterback.
Ryan Hopkins had a phenomenal day. Now, he is really, really good. And so you feel like not only is the present in good shape, but the future in good shape at the quarterback spot as well. When Wisconsin has been good historically, it has been running the football. And we were talking about this earlier. This is a program that has not lost a game when they've gone over 150 yards rushing in the Luke Fickell era, and they've won just one when they haven't. So if you have, you can't have more of a contrast than that. It is an absolute must to be able to run the ball. And they went out and they got talent in the running back room, but they also got depth, Jake.
Yeah, and again, depth is important because the running back position has been beat up as well over the years. And they got guys that complement one another. Abu Sama is a guy that can score from anywhere on the field, but he also breaks tackles. Darian Dupree, he's healthy. He's looking like he's growing in the program. And then there was a number of guys even behind them that are going to contribute throughout the season. And I think it's important because right now maybe the one glaring thing this offense is missing is a true alpha wide receiver one. But if you can run the ball in terms of a diverse running game, that's going to help that wide receiver in those pass catchers.
And we've talked about the injuries at the quarterback position, but they had injuries at the offensive line position as well last year that really slowed this team down. So if they can come together as a group, they have some new guys, some transfer portal guys there too, that are going to be able to step up and make plays for them and be able to really solidify what happens up front. Then all of a sudden those running backs can start to make the plays that they need to make. The quarterback is able, we talked about how dynamic a big part of the run game he will be. That's going to open up things down the field for these wide receivers.
I can't go drag racing in a Honda Civic, you know, and I think for Jeff Grimes this year, looking at the running back room and the athletes at the quarterback position, like he has the horses to go run the offense that he envisions this offense being. So I'd expect major strides offensively for the Badgers.
And they need to make them. I mean, like, let's just be honest. This was the lowest scoring Big Ten team this century a season ago. There are plenty of explanations for it.
Yep.
And I think we've gone over those, but it has to be significantly better. And Jeff Grimes clearly believes they can be, and I think there's a lot of reason to believe they can be.
Yeah.
The defense was significantly better, and part of the reason for that was the emergence of young players. Mason Posa, Cooper Catalano down the stretch last year. Both those guys played fabulously. They're both back at linebacker. They did lose a lot. There is still a decent amount of experience there where you've got guys who started maybe 2-3 games last year who are back. But what do we think of this defensive group that was very good against the run but has to get better against the pass, Jake?
I think they'll pick up where they left off last year. I think the secondary could be even better. I like what they did in the cornerback room, in particular in the portal, but everything starts with those two linebackers, and you could feel, even with the disappointing season last year, it was a renewed energy when those guys came in and they started playing the way they're playing. And I think one of the biggest growth steps you take is from year 1 to year 2. I'd imagine those guys are ready to break up and build further upon what they did last year. So they'll be great against the run. I think the big question for me, Howard, is can they force more turnovers? That'd be one big area of improvement defensively.
You talked about turnovers. That's going to be big. But I like what the outside linebackers also bring to the table, because I think they'll be able to set the edge. When they're setting the edge, those inside linebackers are able to make all the plays that they want to. But you're right. They need to be able to get after the passer when they want to. It's 3rd and 9. Can you go get the passer where they're not able to just flood the secondary with receivers? They have to be able to max protect, and they need guys to be able to step up to do that.
Last thing, the schedule. It was absolutely brutal last year by a lot of measures, the toughest one in the country. They do open with Notre Dame at Lambeau Field, which is not easy. Again, no Big Ten schedule is easy. This one seems somewhat more cooperative. How important is that early season game against the Fighting Irish and an old friend for Luke Fickell, someone he coached and someone he coached with in Marcus Freeman?
Yeah, it's very important. I think it's a measuring stick for where the program is at that particular point. And that's a good barometer, because now you have everybody dialed in and focused because they know the type of competition that they're going to face week 1.
Yeah, and I think it's important, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, to establish an identity. And the challenge for Notre Dame is you haven't had a chance to settle into the season. You're going up against a true dual threat quarterback. I think that plays in the hands of Wisconsin, but regardless of what happens, they need to keep their mindset fresh and optimistic, because this season is really important for Fickell and the team as a whole.
Get things started, that big game at Lambeau Field, the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. So a full weekend of Big Ten football to look forward to in week 1, Rick.
Our crew has now made its way to State College. Coming up tonight at 10 Eastern, the Penn State Training Camp Show features everything you need to know about the Nittany Lions and first-year head coach Matt Campbell, who sounds just as concerned about depth as he is first-string talent.
I think everybody's in an earn-it situation where not only who's the starter, because I think sometimes you can get lost in it. Man, we're going to rotate a lot of guys. We'll play a lot of guys. I've always felt like the more guys that can have a role on your football team, the healthier your football team is. But who, when the game is on the line and it matters the most, who's in the game? Who's the guy that's in the game? And I think that's what's got to be earned right now. And I think those are things we're continuing to be after and looking at and evaluating.